Rosh Hashanah Daf Yud Aleph, how's everybody doing? There's a machlokes, what date was the world created on? According to Eliezer, the world was created in Tishrei. As the pasuk says, Tache ha'aretz eitz pri. In other words, the ground should bring up the fruit which is already finished. Now, when is fruit typically finished? It's finished in Tishrei. It's also a time of rain, as it says in the pasuk, ve'ed yalam in ha'aretz v'hishka. Be a lot of rain to get everything going. So it makes sense that the world was created in Tishrei. The fact that the pasuk says ve'etz oise pri, it should produce fruit in the future, it means future generations, not this year. The first year they came out ready-made. According to Yeshua, the world was created in Nisan. Oise pri, it's only going to start making pears now. What about the fact that the Torah says ve'etz pri? Tremendous chiddush. The Torah is telling us that the world was created finished. The trees were mature. The animals were mature. Shenivru b'kaimasan. Another thing, midaitam. HaKadosh Baruch Hu asked every creature, do you want to be created? Yes. If they said no, they weren't created. And they were also created b'tzivyainam. Every creature had a choice how it looked and how large it would be. Big chiddush. And therefore he says, yes, the trees were fully mature, but they didn't produce fruit in the first year. In fact, he says, Nisan is a time of Ibur Behemos and Chayos. That's when animals are pregnant. We also have a machlokes, what month were the Avos, Avram and Yaakov, born in? According to Eliezer, they were born in Tishrei. The pasuk, in fact, calls it Yerech HaYisanim, the month of the Yisanim, meaning the Tkifim, the mighty. The Avos are also Harim, mountains. As it says in the pasuk, Medalig ala Harim. He skipped over the mountains. What does that mean? In merit, in the schus of the Avos and the Mais, Klal Yisrael Zoicha, that the Shibud Mitzrayim will be much less. According to Yeshua, it has to mean something else. It means that Tishrei, this month of Tishrei, is Takiv b'mitzvahs. It has a lot of mitzvahs. There's lulav, esrog, shofar, etc. It says in the pasuk, he brings the ziv, which is the Chodesh Hasheni. It says in the pasuk, the Avos were already born. In other words, they were born in the first month of Tishrei. According to Elazar, it means ziv means that the lanais have ziv, the trees have beauty, and anytime you see the blooming of the trees, you say a bracha, a special bracha that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us to benefit and enjoy the beautiful trees. HaKadosh Baruch Hu fills the years of tzaddikim, the day that they were born, that's the day they die. We see by Moshe Rabbeinu ben Me'av Esrim Shana Anochi Hayoy Es Mispa Yomecha Amalei. So obviously the Avos, they died on the day that they were born. Yitzchak was born on Pesach. As it says in the pasuk, L'moyed Ashuv. The Malachim came on this Yantav. We'll be back. The next Yantav you'll have a child. Now, the only possibility is, and the furthest distance from one Yantav to the other, is that they came on Sukkot, and they gave a bracha that Sarah will have a child on Pesach. Now, we know that if a person is pregnant for 9 months, it has to be full 9 months. You never give birth earlier. But if it's a 7-month pregnancy, and that's what it was, and it was a leap year, so we have 7 months between Sukkot and Pesach. Yes, Sarah became Tmeya the day the Malachim came, and that's why Avram couldn't serve the bread. But we see by Shmuel, Chana gave birth after 6 months and 2 days. 3 things happened on Rosh Hashanah. First of all, the Sarah, Rachel, and Chana nifkedu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu decided that they're going to have children, and we see that in the pasuk, their Shabbat Zechira Pekida. Second thing is, Yosef Tzaddik came out of jail on Rosh Hashanah. The third thing is that Klal Yisrael stopped working in Mitzrayim on Rosh Hashanah, even though they went out in Nisan. Nisan is the month that Klal Yisrael were redeemed from Mitzrayim, and according to Rabbi Yeshua, they are also going to go out in Nisan. Nigalu b'Nisan v'asidim le'gad. Because we say, Leil Shimur, it's the night of anticipation. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is waiting for the future Geula. But according to Elazar, it's the night of Shimurim, it's a watch night. There's no mazikin. And in fact, the Geula is going to happen in Tishrei. The Mabul started 600 years into Noach's life in the 2nd month. And the Mabul lasted approximately a little bit more than a year. And it went into the 601st year of Noach's life. That's when the ground dried up. According to Eliezer, the second month is Cheshvan. So the Mabul started in Cheshvan and ended in Cheshvan. But according to Rabbi Yeshua, that the world began in Nisan, so the second month is Iyar. So the Mabul started in Iyar and ended in Iyar. Now the Gemara tells us that on the tail end of Tleh, the Mazel Tleh, is something called Kima. Now when a person looks from his vantage point and sees the sun lining up with the Mazalis, so let's say in the morning as the sun comes out, the sun and the constellations are lined up. So say this month it lines up with Tleh, Aries. The following month it's going to line up with the following constellation, which is Shar. Now, typically, as the Tleh and the Kima come up, and the Gemara calls it Shekeya, in the time of the Mabul, because the humans were so bad, they married Eshes Ish and Scharim, etc. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu flipped it. Instead of Kima coming up, it actually went down. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu took 2 stars out of Kima. In other words, he unplugged Kima, and that's where the water of the Mabul came from. Have a wonderful day.